Alrighty, so all these are original artifacts from World War I, World War II, and the Korean and Vietnam Wars. All of them are original, and they are all issued to American troops. Let's start with the earliest war here, the First World War. These artifacts are 100 years old or 99 years old. The first item is this Montana peak hat, which was issued before this helmet, and this was that's definitely over 100 years old, and it would have been issued to American troops, but they threw it out and replaced it with the helmet in 1917. The Army measuring tape, which is right here in the front, was measuring the uniforms, and it is very, very small because they were a lot smaller back then. Number 3 are these dog tags down here. These were given to the troops to identify them, and there are 2 on them. If the soldier happened to be killed, another soldier would take one of the tags off, so they could bring back to the commander, and the other tag would be left on to identify the body. This medal right here, this small square medal with swords, it's a French campaign medal that had been issued to World War I soldiers who fought with the French, as some Americans were fighting with the French before they entered the war. Trench art, number 5. Soldiers would carve out artillery shells and bullet shells to make little art, and that is in the shape of a cross out of a really, really old rifle cartridge. The Manual of Physical Training, that is a physical fitness book given to U.S. troops, and that book itself is 103 years old, and there is not a single tear rip in any of the pages. Some of them are still even glossy. The cavalry sword down here, cavalry and horses were still being used in that time for warfare. It quickly dissolved into bloody murder, and that sword was to be given out to troops on the horses. This lantern was given to French troops and carried by Americans also. It can collapse, and there is still candle wax inside from when it was lit. This helmet belonged to a soldier in the 91st Infantry Division who was on the Meuse River in France at the very end of the war. And the final item for World War I are these signal flags, which would be used to signal aircraft and artillery. So we're going to move on to the Second World War now. The first item is an American civil defense helmet. This was for men and women who were not able to join the army, so they stayed home and protected civilians from air raids and did gas drills. The second item is this photo down here. That is a Navy photo of a bomber crew. The third item is to the left of it. It's this gray pouch, this olive green pouch. It is a uniform sewing kit. Next is over here, and it is a desk set, which would be on an officer's desk. You can use that to sign letters, write, and to do what officers do, sit at a desk and do nothing. A discharge service record. This was given to a man who had been honorably discharged and would help him write down, there's a little bit of a paper to help him keep track of his daily life and adjust back to civilian life, which leads me to this, which is a going back to civilian life pamphlet given to soldiers at the end of the war. These dog tags belong to a B-17 bomber crewman. They're given to me by his daughter. This communications handbook, right down here, it is marked restricted and was given to one of the men in the unit photo. This poker set had to be bought by the soldier so that they may have something to do while they were overseas. The World War II Air Medal would be issued to airmen who displayed acts of valor in the air. This pipe was given to a Royal Air Force soldier, probably carried by an American. This sailor's cap was given to U.S. Navy sailors for their dress blues. This matchbook, which is right here, is a small little matchbook that says "Keep 'em Flying" on it, and it'd be used to light cigarettes and the pipe. Some of these patches down here. We have a 30th Infantry Division patch, which is this one right here. It's the red and blue one. We also have a 10th Army Air Forces patch, which is right here. Next up, we have an 11th Infantry Division patch, which is the dice one. And a Mediterranean Army Air Force patch, which is right there. And last but not least, we have newspaper scrapbooks. These were made during and right after the war, and there are photos in there that have never been seen before. A real capsule of history. And move on to Korea and Vietnam. The first item are GI socks. These would keep the GI's feet warm in Korea in the freezing cold temperatures. The second item is this M1 helmet, which served America through World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and was a very recognizable symbol of the U.S. Army. This patch is a 474th Tactical Fighter Wing patch, and those were the guys who flew the jets in Vietnam. The next is this flashlight, which is in working condition. It would be given out to troops in Vietnam. The Navy Commendation Medal down here would be given out to Navy and Marine Corps troops who displayed acts of valor in the field or on the boats. And the Legion of Merit is a very high award for valor, very close to the Medal of Honor. This letter is a letter from a submariner to me. He served on the USS Nautilus during the war. And last but not least, this is a helmet cover that would go over the helmet of the M1 pot helmet. And that's it.